Back in 2016 and 2017, back in Highlands Ranch, we had two local moms who took their lives and the lives of their kids. And it rocked me in a way that I can't even describe. I did not know either of them personally, but I was weirdly connected to both of them. And that connection just caused me to feel like, there are some times in your life when you're like, wow, somebody should really do something about that. And then there's times when you're like, all right, put me in, coach. It's my turn to do something.
Welcome to today's episode, where we're featuring the incredible journey of Nikki, a true Jill of all trades with a passion for helping others. Born in northern Michigan to an electrician and a stay-at-home mom, Nikki's story is one of love, resilience, and dedication. Nikki's love story began at the tender age of 12, when she met her future husband and boldly told a friend, "Someday I'm going to marry him." Well, 8 years later, her prediction came true. She pursued her education at Eastern Michigan University, majoring in behavioral science and elementary education, and later earned a master's degree in adult education and development from Regis University. As a mother of 3 children that were born in 2000, 2003, and 2007, Nikki understands the challenges and feelings of inadequacy that many moms face. This empathy led her to become an author, publisher, photographer, and the founder of the nonprofit You're Not Alone, YANA. Founded in 2017 after heartbreaking tragedies of 2 mothers who took their lives and their children's lives, YANA aims to provide essential support to mothers everywhere. Nikki's mission through YANA is to change the world, one mama at a time, offering hope and community to those who need it most. Join us as we dive into Nikki's inspiring story and learn about her impactful work. If you want more influential individuals like Nikki, please subscribe to continue to grow the community. And thank you so much, Nikki, for being here today. It is such a pleasure to have you. And I just believe your story is so inspiring, but I would love for you to tell us how you got here from your journey from being a small town girl to a multifaceted entrepreneur, and what were some of those pivotal moments that shaped the path that got you here today?
Oh, Dr. Caroline, thank you so much for having me here. I love telling my story because I think it inspires other people to really kind of think, wow, there's something else out there for me. Like you said, a small town girl. My husband and I both grew up in a small town in northern Michigan. We've been together since I was 12 and he was 15. So we're that story that people are like, oh, that never happens. Well, it does. We'll be 30 years married next year. So we've been together for a long time. And when I was growing up, I was going to be a teacher forever. My second grade teacher, Mrs. Bowman, said, oh, you're going to either be a newscaster or a teacher. Like, though, that's what I see. And she was like, I don't know about the newscaster thing, but the teacher was spot on. And that's what it's all I ever wanted to be. So I went and got my bachelor's, my master's, planned to get my PhD. Like, that was the plan. There was honestly nothing else I ever thought I wanted to be. And then I did that for over 20 years in many, many different ways. And I taught at Metro State for 2 years. I taught everything from toddlers to college and everything in between, and never really found my facet. Like, I was just too kind of all over. I loved so many different parts of it. So then I was in administration for 4 years. And then we had these 2 horrible tragedies happen in our community. Back in 2016 and 2017, back in Highlands Ranch, we had 2 local moms who took their lives and the lives of their kids. And it rocked me in a way that I can't even describe. I did not know either of them personally, but I was weirdly connected to both of them. And that connection just caused me to feel like, there are some times in your life when you're like, wow, somebody should really do something about that. And then there's times when you're like, all right, put me in, coach. It's my turn to do something. And so it's a crazy long story that I'd love to share with anybody over a glass of wine, but we became a 501c3 with a location and a little bit of money in the bank, all within 2 weeks of me just putting it out on my Facebook page and saying, hey, I can't just sit here and watch this anymore. So we became a nonprofit, and it's called YANA, YANA, which stands for You Are Not Alone. And we just want to ensure that every mom feels safe, valued, and accepted, and that they are enough. And so we give them supports to make that happen.
I love it. And when I first heard your journey and just what you're doing for moms, I just felt so connected to that. Not a mom personally, but just all the people that I know that are moms that have struggled whether they just didn't have that family support locally or just didn't have family support in general. But
Right.
what you've created of knowing that you're not alone and feeling enough. And I think that's so important. And when you founded You're Not Alone after the tragedies of these two mothers, how did these events impact you personally, and what motivated you to turn that pain into a mission to support others?
Like I said, my husband and I are from Michigan. We moved here. He got a job with Lockheed Martin, and we didn't know anybody here. We knew nobody. And so we just kind of started our lives here. We made lots of great friends. We had great acquaintances, and we both, liked our jobs. And I finished my education, and then we had our first two babies. And I truly had no idea what it was like to mother on your own. I grew up in a small town where my dad's entire family lived. Like four, there were four kids and my grandparents. They all lived in the same town. All my cousins, we all grew up in the same town. And there was always support. There was always somebody around. There was always help for whatever, right? And I did not realize what that meant. I did not realize what that support truly was about until I had two kids and realized, oh my gosh, I don't have any of that. I have lots of friends. None of them had kids. I was truly the only person in my friend group that had kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. And so we actually moved across the country to get closer to family, which actually didn't really get us any closer to family. I mean, it did miles wise, but it's still a 5 hour drive to see your family. It's not like you're having dinner every weekend or they're helping with babysitting. But I created this community around myself because we lived in this little town called Avon, Ohio. And there was all kinds of stay-at-home moms, and it was affordable to be able to have one worker. But then when these two moms did these acts back here in Highlands Ranch back in 26, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, because I thought, how horrible is it that you get to a point that that's your answer to how you're going to handle motherhood. And I just literally threw my hands in the air and said, enough. I can't watch this. I can't open the news and see this happen again. And like I said, I was weirdly connected to both of them, and the stories that came out of the ripple effect of those two actions with the people that it touched were just heartbreaking. When you have the 6th grade boy who was the kindergartner's reading buddy, just in tears, sobbing in tears and saying, I don't know, Ethan was my reading buddy. How am I supposed to be okay with the fact that his mom murdered him? And when a 6th grade boy asks you that question, it changes you. It just does. And so it just changed me in so many ways. And I realized that we need to do better. We need to support our moms better. We need to do more. And then when you start looking at other countries and what they do to support their moms, Europe, Asia, Canada, Australia, they do these things that it blows American women away. They're just like, no way. I'm like, yeah, if you have a baby in Canada, they send a doula to your home. She just comes to your home and helps you and does your laundry or holds the baby so you can sleep, whatever. It's just part of their having babies. And we don't even pick up the phone and call mom. We don't even check on that. We don't do anything. And it's awful. And so our programs are changing all of that. Our programs are giving moms mental health, generational mental health change.
I love that. And can you share some of the programs and services you do offer?
Yes. So we have 3 different ways that we support moms. So the first way is that any mom anywhere can have a support mom. And that support mom is just another mom. Because like I said, I didn't have anybody like that. And I would have loved to have somebody to just talk to. That wasn't my family member, wasn't my mother-in-law, wasn't it was just somebody who was there for me. So we do that for any mom anywhere. So if you're a mama out there that you're like, wow, I don't have any friends here, I don't have any family here, I'd love to have a support mom, look us up on our website. Our website's yanamom.com, and you can apply. Basically, you just fill out a survey and I match you with a support mom. If you are a mama out there who's like, you know what, all my kids are grown, I have older kids, and I would love to help another young mom because I didn't have that either, you can also go to our website and sign up to be a volunteer support mom. We need lots of those. So that's one way we do it. We also have a podcast. Our podcast is called Let's Be Real Mama Journeys, and we interview mamas about their mama journey because we think it's really important to hear each other's stories, to tell our story, but also to hear each other's. And you feel less alone when you do that. You also can go to our website and sign up to do that as well, or listen to our podcast as well. And then the biggest part of our program is called Strong Mamas, Thriving Babies. This is a hospital program where every single mom who gives birth at one of our participating hospitals gets a full year of wraparound support. So they get an app to communicate with the other mamas. They get in-person gatherings so we can hand them a village of moms. And And then they get phone calls by other mamas. Our whole program's peer led. So it's mom to mom because we think the best support comes from each other. So we're in 2 hospitals now. We're at UC Health Highlands Ranch and Parker Advent, hopefully Castle Rock by the end of the year. And then we're going to expand from there and take this as far as we can. There's no reason why every hospital shouldn't have this program.
Oh, you're so right. Because even my husband and I, like when we were thinking of just like starting our family, we're like, well, should we move to like another country? Just like even before we got married, because the benefits of just having a child in other countries is so different than here in America. And I'm glad you touched on that because you're right. In other countries, there's support. I forgot if it's Finland or somewhere else, but it's like 3 years of maternity leave.
Mhm.
I was like, what?
Yep.
You're lucky
Paid.
to get 12.
Yep. Oh, you're lucky if you get 12, especially paid. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
They pay you for like years to raise a family because they understand what that means. If you raise a family and you raise children, guess what? They're going to pay taxes later in life too. They're encouraging you, right, to create human beings who are going to go out into their society and make it a better place. So, I mean, investing in moms, there's no downside to investing in moms.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And speaking of just investing in moms, I would love to hear 1 or 2 success stories from the program that you've created. I know it's fairly new in the hospital setting, but
Yeah.
what has that looked like just success wise for the moms that you are working with?
I love you asking that question. So our first program, like I said, is the Support Mom program. And we kind of loosely based our nonprofit off the AA model. So we'd have gatherings and play dates for the moms to come together and build a community. And then every mom is offered a support mom. And then we're just a clearinghouse of resources. So that was our first back in 2017. That's how we started. And we had this mama who walked in the door and she was really struggling. She had 3 kids under the age of 5. They were homeless because her husband had just lost his job. So they were living with her in-laws. He had just been diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. She knew that her oldest had some learning disabilities and she was really struggling with how to handle that. She was living with her in-laws, like I said, that were very not supportive, let's call it that way. And so she was really struggling and she walked in and we just lifted her up. We just gave her a support mom. We gave her love. We told her how wonderful she was. She came every week and let the kids play and just got to be there with other moms and just feel heard, seen, and valued. And now we built her up to the point that it changed her whole life. Now, little did I know, she had a plan on that day when she walked in, she was going to take her life. Now, I truly believe that the way that we supported her and she just felt heard and seen was all she needed. And so we gave that to her. So now they are homeowners. Husband is cancer-free, gainfully employed, and she's now homeschooling her 3 kids and created a mama support group for homeschooling moms to be able to lean on each other. Like I was like, oh my gosh, that's so full circle. And how awesome is that, right? So we know that we made a difference in her life and we know that we saved, and that's been huge. She credits us with saving her life. And there's a video actually on our website of her. And it's just very heartwarming to know that we made that change. Another one, we were just on Colorado and Company last week on 9 News. You can look that up. It was last Monday. And one of our mamas from this program, from the hospital program. Now, keep in mind, we're only been going for 4 months. We piloted this January 30th, and we're at 397 moms right now who have registered for the program. So we're almost at 400 in 4 months. And it's been amazing. It's been phenomenal. It's better than I ever thought it would be. But we have a mama who really, truly just needed that support and that love. And it changed everything for her. And they came and spoke actually at our fundraiser last month. And she's like, you saved my family. Like you saved my family. I was definitely suicidal. I had a lot of ideologies going on and you saved us. And those are the stories that the comments that we get from these mamas for the in-person gatherings specifically, and even on the app, but they're just like, oh my gosh, this has changed motherhood for me. And where the heck were you when I had my first baby? Like this has changed my whole motherhood journey. And that's exactly what we want. We want these mamas to just feel that they have each other. Like it shouldn't be this hard. We're handing you a village of moms. Now you have each other. Hopefully it stays. You get these moms forever, and that's the plan. So it's been amazing to watch.
Oh, it's so beautiful what that transformation can be. Just walking in for the first mom you mentioned, she had the intent of maybe ending her life that day, and it shifted because she felt that support. She felt seen and heard and valued, and everything she was going through. Of course, there are so many mental health issues that pop up, just even society being Mental Health Awareness Month as well, and being a former therapist. I think it's something that we don't take serious enough sometimes, and knowing how it can really impact our entire lives if we don't acknowledge it and get the help we need. And because mental health is such a crucial aspect of your work, how do you think society can better support moms struggling with mental health issues? And what role does society and community play in that support as well? Today's episode is sponsored by the Start Here conference.
Hey there, fabulous folks. Welcome to the Start Here conference, where the fun begins and success stories unfold.
Yep, you heard it right. We're here to kickstart your journey with a big dose of energy and a sprinkle of magic.
Picture this, a place where inspiration flows, connections bloom, and dreams take flight.
At Start Here, we're all about keeping it real and having a blast while doing it.
No stuffy suits or boring speeches here, just good vibes and endless possibilities.
So whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just dipping your toes in the water, there's something here for everyone.
From incredible breakout sessions to a dance party that'll have you jumping out your seats and showing us your best moves, this event will have it all.
And hey, did we mention the food? Delicious bites and refreshing drinks to keep you fueled up and ready to conquer the world.
So what are you waiting for? Grab your ticket, bring your sparkle, let's make some magic happen at the Start Here conference.
And now back to the show.
They play all the role, to be totally honest with you. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because I will tell you that so many people say to me, well, those moms took the lives of a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 10-year-old. So you're telling me that's still postpartum? And I'm like, absolutely was postpartum. I actually talked to both families and heard from both of them, and they all said, absolutely. It was postpartum that was just, it's kind of like when you get a cut in your leg, right? And you just go, it's fine. And you don't really take care of it. And it festers and festers and festers. And then all of a sudden you're getting amputated because you go sepsis, right? It's the same idea with postpartum depression. Like, it starts out that way, but then festers into other things and can become life-threatening, right? Mental health for everyone. Everyone has a spectrum of mental health, right? Every one of us. Some days it's really great, and some days we're having a rough day. Well, some people, there's other factors in there that you can't see. And I think that's another big issue that we have, and the stigma we have with mental health is that, well, you can't see it, so it doesn't exist. Well, guess what? It does. And so mental health for moms, the number one killer of women of childbearing age who have children from the age of 0 to 12 months. So the number one killer is suicide for moms of newborns. That's the number one way they die. It's not hemorrhaging at birth. It's not complications at birth. It is suicide. And that can be prevented if we took the time and the money and invested in moms from the beginning. Every one of us has a mom. Every one of us, whether they were a part of our lives for our whole lives or not, we were all brought into this world by a mom. Okay. Some of us are moms, right? Not everybody. Some of us are married to moms. But here's the deal. Everybody had a mom. And if that mom's mental health was taken seriously from day one of being a mama, and even before that, but let's just start now with when they became a mom, everything changes, because mamas create the temperature of the home. Let's call it the temperature, right? There's a saying that says, when mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And that is so true. So why don't we just give them the support they deserve? Why don't we say, wow, holy cow, you created a miracle in your body. You created another human being. Let's support you. Let's give you what you deserve, right? And so that's what our program does, is gives moms what they deserve. We deserve to be supported. We deserve to feel safe, valued, and accepted. And that's what we hand these moms. And I think building a community around you, that's number one. Number one, it's so funny because I do these podcast interviews, and I always say at the end, what's your number one takeaway? Like, what do you wish you would have known? Or what do you want other moms to know? And almost every single one of them says, find your people. Find your village, find the people who will support you and love you for who you are and help you through this motherhood journey, because it's never was expected to be done alone.
Absolutely. And, they always say it takes a village. And I truly believe that. I've seen it with all my friends, my sister. I didn't see it with my mom because I was a baby, but
right.
Yep. But I think it is so important. And just even in general in life, when you are even on the entrepreneurial journey, having people that support you and having your tribe, no matter what that looks like, but just having people in your corner that cheer you on based off of who you are, where you're at. You're going to have ups and downs, but people that you can really lean on when shit goes, like when things happen,
Yep. 100%.
It's difficult, but I
Yes.
think that's the beautiful aspect. We have that opportunity to really lean in, and there's resources available, because I had never heard of this before until I met you. I was like, oh my God, this exists. This needs to exist, and people need to hear about it. And I'm curious because I know you do a lot of different events. Do you have any events coming up currently?
Yes, we do. We always do. So July 13th is ours called Rock Your Wellness, and it is at Civic Green Park in Highlands Ranch. It is a vendor fair for all kinds of vendors, all kinds of health and wellness vendors. We have 4 food trucks. We have a blood drive. We have an immunization drive. We have Battle of the Bands. There's going to be lots of bands playing in the band shell. It's going to be a fun family friendly event, Civic Green in Highlands Ranch. And then we also have our gala and casino night coming up September 7th. It is at the Village Workspace and Event Center in Centennial. Gina and Taylor are amazing human beings, and they're big supporters of YANA and our nonprofit. So our gala, that's our big fundraiser for the year. So it's a gala casino night. It's going to be a blast. So we'd love to, that's on Eventbrite. So you can find that there too. So yeah, those are our 2 biggest events that are coming up in a little while.
I love it. It's so exciting. So many things happening. And just with all the events happening, all the goals that you have, I'm really curious, what are your future goals for YANA, and what other ventures that you are currently working on, and how you see that expanding over the coming years?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you what, we had a plan to be statewide in 10 years. That was our goal, was to be statewide in every hospital in 10 years. Well, Advent Health has come in and said, yeah, we have 55 nationwide hospitals. How about we talk about that? And I'm like, okay, we're still piloting. So hang on, give me a little time to, get my bearing and get the whole system built from the ground up. I mean, we're literally building this from dirt. So we're figuring it all out yet. But Advent has been amazing. UC Health has been fabulous at Highlands Ranch. So honestly, I don't know where this goes. I hope and pray that it goes everywhere. I want this for every mom everywhere. I hate that I have a pregnant mom walk up to me and they say, we heard about your program, but I'm not giving birth at your hospital. And I'm like, oh, we're grant funded right now. We're grant funded through 2024, thanks to Douglas County. They were fabulously generous with us, and we got a grant from them. But now after that, it's at January 1, it's got to change. The funding has to change. So we are grant writing, we are grant searching, we are looking for corporate sponsorships. We're looking for any kind of other revenue that can come through our program to help us with this, to make sure that it continues. The hospitals will definitely push, be part of that as well. But there's lots of other expenses that are outside of that besides the program. So we hope this gets to every single mom everywhere, because there's no reason it shouldn't.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I feel like it just needs to be shouted through the rooftops and also on the mountains everywhere. But that's why I'm so glad to have you on today. And, I just love that you turned something that was a tragedy into a mission, being able to really be propelling it forward to make sure that other people don't struggle like those 2 moms did, and so many other moms that have struggled in some capacity or form. And what advice do you have for others who want to create a positive change from their own difficult experience?
Oh my gosh, do it. So, like I said at the beginning, there are times when you're like, wow, somebody should do something about that. Like, somebody should look into that. I didn't even know what a nonprofit was. I had no idea what I was doing. And I literally was reading the book Nonprofits for Dummies. Like, I did all the things. I asked all my friends, anybody want to be on my board? And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know, but the Secretary of State says I have to have one, and I guess I need one. So want to be my treasurer? And my girlfriend was like, Nikki, I can't even balance my own checkbook. I'm like, hey, we don't have any money. It doesn't matter. Like, I just have to put your name down. Like, truly, I did not know what I was doing. But I will tell you, lean on the other people who have done it, who know what they're doing. That's what I did. And I said, give me all the information. I don't know what I'm doing. But if you find a thing that your heart really it just speaks to you, and you know that you need to do something about it, do it. Like, that's how change gets made. That's how this is. We're helping over 400 moms in 4 months. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, who knew that was going to happen? But we know we're making change. We're giving generational mental health, and it's changing the world one mama at a time.
Yes, it is. And I love that slogan, because it's true. You are helping one mom at a time. And that's a huge part of just even the nonprofit. What was your experience like building the nonprofit on the back end? So some of the tools or tips that you have for somebody who wants to start a nonprofit.
Find a mentor, and I'm going to tell you, it's not me. because I was handed a nonprofit. It was a very strange situation that does not happen. But this woman, I mean, all the stars aligned for me, and there was such a higher power involved in all of it, where this woman just walked up to me and said, "I'm going to hand you my nonprofit," and I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm like, "Can you do that?" She's like, "I don't know. Let's figure it out." And sure enough, so one thing I would say is if you have this passion and you feel the need to do something, go look and see if there's another organization out there doing that and help them, or, create another arm of it or whatever, because starting a nonprofit is no joke. You won't get a paycheck for 5 years. I did not make a paycheck. They told me that. Everybody I talked to said, you won't get paid for 5 years. And I'm, me being me, I was like, you don't know me. Yeah, they were right. 5.5 years is exactly when we got funded. And that's when I pulled my first paycheck. So it's not for the faint at heart. Thank God I have a very supportive husband who was like, you need to go do good in the world and we'll make it work. And we did. I also had another job on the side, obviously, to help pay bills. But honestly, the tools are find the people. Just like I'm telling you to find a village when you have a baby, find a village when you create something. When you create, whether you're an entrepreneur, I have this friend who is a realtor. She's actually on my board, Trina, who's phenomenal. And she created a support group of other realtors, and they get together and they chat. And somebody once said to her, "Why are you doing that? You're getting together with your competition." And she was like, "There's enough houses to be sold for all of us. But if we all talk to each other and are like, oh my gosh, how are you doing this?" And just helping each other and building that community, that's huge. And I was so proud of her for that, because she's right. So find the people who are doing it or that want to do it with you. Find your people and lean on them. There are a lot of resources out there and there's a lot of baloney out there. So finding all the good stuff is a task for sure, but surround yourself with the right people.
I love that. And I totally agree with you. I think there's room for everyone. There's an abundance. That's even why I started the podcast after the YouTube channel. I'm like, I'm seeing so many people in the same industry, but the delivery is different. How they go about it is so different as well. And their story is different, but everything is valid. And I think just to speak to what you said about your friend as well, that's a realtor, just being able to lean on other people, because I don't believe in competition. I think we can always make each other better with our own unique flair to it. But I love that, because I do agree with that. I'm so about community over competition. But I know on the back end, you have the nonprofit, but you're also an author, publisher, photographer. You wear a lot of hats that we haven't talked about yet. But how do you balance and integrate all these roles? And what advice do you have for other women trying to juggle multiple responsibilities?
Oh my gosh, the juggling and the mama guilt that comes with juggling, because you're never giving yourself 100% to anything because you're juggling so many things. Yeah. So first and foremost, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I am a nonprofit CEO and founder, but I also have a photography business that I've had for 30 years. My husband and I were yearbook photographers together in our high school yearbook. That's how it all started. And I fell in love with the idea of taking a snapshot of a moment in time and then having it forever. Like, how cool is that? When I really got into photography, I'm like, wow. And then in the darkroom, you actually get to watch it come alive on a piece of paper. Like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. And so I love photography. I do that on the side because that's my creative outlet. I love to be creative with seniors in high school and families and events. And I don't do weddings, but yet I'm doing 2 weddings this summer. So I'm not sure how that all worked out. But anyway, I also did write a book. I wrote a book during the pandemic because I thought, you know what, I have a lot to share and I need to get it out. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to write a book. So I did. Again, one of those things I never thought I would do. Well, then that turned into, well, if I'm going to publish more than one book, I should make my own publishing company. So then my coworker and I started our own publishing company called the Elephant Sisterhood Publishing Company. And we're all about, I don't know if you know anything about female elephants, but in the wild, they are pregnant. And when they drop their babies, literally drop the baby, all of the other female elephants make a circle around the mom and the baby, and they trumpet up and celebrate the birth of that baby. And they protect that baby from predators. And I'm like, wow, that's so magical, right? So we are the Elephant Sisterhood because we believe in that. And so we publish other authors, mostly women, who want to tell their story too. So that's something else I do. The juggling, it's real. I'm not going to say I'm really good at it at all times because I'm not. You ask my husband, he's like, are you ever home? Like, so yeah, we struggle with that a little bit, not gonna lie, but I have 2, my kids are grown. I have a 23, a 21, and 17-year-old. My 23-year-old is in law school on Long Island. My 21-year-old is finishing, she has a senior year of college at UCCS in Colorado Springs. And my 17-year-old's a senior in high school. So they're pretty self-sufficient. I mean, they still need mama a lot, but that's okay. That's what I'm here for, right? So juggling it all is no joke, but you also have to find some time for yourself, which is something I struggle with. I don't do a lot of that, but I'm working on it. Let's say that I'm working on making the time for me.
And that's what it's about. I think it's so hard. I talk to a lot of moms that are like, self-care goes out the window because they're
Mhm.
worried about everybody else but themselves. But I think it is really important to have those boundaries, compassion for yourself, so you don't have compassion fatigue, even
Yep.
just with what you're giving, and making sure that you're giving to yourself and making that a
Mhm.
priority. But I love that you said that it is a juggling act. It's not ever perfect. You focus on what's a priority. Your kids are older now, but I'm sure there was a lot more when they were younger as well. But I think it is, everybody's looks a little different in their juggling act because it's
For
never
sure.
a perfect balance. I don't believe in balance because it doesn't exist, and everything's going to throw different things at you, especially when you're building an amazing nonprofit, having a photography business, writing books, publishing company, all the things, wife, just having time for your friends. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's prioritizing and doing what makes sense for you. But I'm really curious, with everything that you have shared, you've shared so much insight, but what do you think is the biggest takeaway for people listening right now when it comes to entrepreneurship, motherhood, the whole journey that you've been on that you want others to know?
I really want people to realize that if you surround yourself with people who support you and love you, whether they agree with you or not, you don't have to all agree on everything, but if they just support and love on you and are there to be your sounding board, to throw ideas at, help you in where you need help, you're going to be just fine. I think surrounding yourself, knowing what your strengths are and figuring out how to best use those strengths. I think there are so many people who have strengths they don't even realize they have, and they need to, kind of expand on those and seeing what that looks like. And don't be afraid to fail. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'd be like, okay, this nonprofit hasn't made a penny. We're making a difference in moms, but financially it's not working. I can't find funding, blah, 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 blah. Okay, at this time, if we don't get to this point at this time, I have to close up shop and go back to teaching or go do something else. And lo and behold, we always got to whatever that goal was, whatever I set, we got there. And then I was like, okay, well, all right, the next 6 months, let's try again. Right. And so we just kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going. And now here we are, like literally changing the world one mom at a time and making a difference. So just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, I love it. Simple, short, to the point, just do it.
Let's do it.
Because you never know what can happen. But Nikki, I've been so enjoying this conversation. I would love to know where people can find you. We're going to link everything below, but if you could let us know too.
Yes, please come find us at yanamom.com. So YANAMOM.com. That's where you can find all of the places you can volunteer, you can donate, you can see what our events are, you can learn all about our board, and myself and my partner Savannah, who's my left hand, right hand, all of the hands. And so yeah, that's where you can learn about all of our stuff. So we're also on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're in LinkedIn, all under YANA M2M, because that was the original name of the company, of the nonprofit. It was YANA M2M, which was You Are Not Alone, Mom to Mom, but we just shortened it to YANA. But you can find us on all those places.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Nikki, just for sharing everything you're doing for moms, helping the world one mama at a time. Just feel not alone, because I know a lot of people do feel alone a lot, but what you're doing is really changing the world in ripple effects. And I can't wait to see what happens in the next few months. But thank you again for coming on today, Nikki.
Oh, I'm so blessed to have it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course, I appreciate you. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below what was the biggest takeaway from Nikki today. I'm sure she would love to see that comment, and we'll see you on the next episode.